Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in again. I have got an amazing guest with me today to help you to really unleash that inner powerhouse that is just bursting to come out. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to the incredible Sherisse. Sherisse, thank you for coming on. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and who you help?
Yes. Oh, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I'm really, really happy to be here too. So, yes, and yes to this powerhouse energy because that is everything I'm about. So, my title for anyone that doesn't know me is Inner Power Activation Leader, and my one-to-one work is predominantly for women, but I do work in schools and workplaces, delivering workshops and all of the things. So, I focus really on mental health and well-being, but from a deep place of healing from your inner child perspective. So all of my work is deep rooted and it's about healing from the inside out. Because I think a lot of people think that confidence is something that's outside of us or something that we have to like grab from somewhere to adopt it to be our own. But I fully believe and know that we all have this inner power inside of us, and what we have to do is remove the blocks that have been keeping us held back for so long, limited beliefs, self-sabotaging thoughts, other people's opinions. We have to move all of that out of the way in order for that true essence of our confidence and power to come out and shine through out onto the world and inspire everyone and everything through us just being who we are.
I love that. I think it's so interesting as well, isn't it? Because so many of us have so many limiting beliefs, and a lot of them you don't even realize are limiting beliefs because it's just so embedded into you. And I think, like, even when I'm working with my branding clients, a lot of people come to me because they feel like they just want a rebrand because they've sort of pivoted or whatever. When actually, there's so much inner work that you have to do in order to take, like, to step into that next level and have that next level success. And not just success, but it's confidence and that energy that is going
Mm,
to attract the sort of success that you're after anyway.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
your journey to becoming a woman's inner power activation leader, what inspired you to get started? Like, what's your journey been for getting into what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I wish it was simpler and more attractive because it was actually just, trauma, to be honest. I
Yeah.
think so if I do like a quick nutshell of my life, because otherwise we'll be here for like 4 hours. Uh, I've always been this version of me in terms of fiery and passionate about everything that I've done. And that's really where the title inner power came from, because throughout every stage of my life that's always been the essence of me. And I'm into astrology as well, so a lot of the work that I do, I connect to astrology and other spiritual kind of modalities. But I'm a double Leo, so that means I'm a Leo sun, Leo rising, so everything I do is fierce, right? I can't help it, it's just there. But that igniting that power, that spark, has always been the essence of me. And I basically grew up in a volatile household. I had an addict as a parent, and then alongside that, grew up in a non-diverse area. So I had faced a lot of racism, and also between the ages of 12 to 17, I had 11 members of my family just pass away back to back, just for various reasons. So in my life, I just faced a lot of adversity, and I chose from such a young age to not be a victim to circumstance, but to change the narrative and to not allow anyone to carry on perpetuating behaviors that I didn't like. So, for example, if anyone did shout out racist of like slurs to me or whatever, I would always stop them in their tracks and say, who's speaking to, do you want to rethink that? I would always call out that type of behavior and attitude. And then even in my household with the parent that was an addict, I was actually physically defending the rest of my family, and just not allowing it. I'd never liked bullying types of behavior,
Yeah.
and unfortunately I just experienced a lot of it. So that kind of led me to becoming this masculine, I always say, version of me that was quite toxic, because I just focused on being something. So I just wanted to be successful. And for me, dance was a real outlet that I had at the time that really allowed me to be me and not be this protector or this strong person. I could
Yeah.
just be Sherisse. So I got a chance to really, just have fun and live in my purpose and my passion at that time. And that really then sort of ended up becoming a career, and I went to university and did all of things. And even in that journey, it was still hard. You know, I was in a dance industry that wasn't yet diverse. So I'd walk into a sea of, 500 girls that are all 5'6" and white, and I was the only like 5'4" brown girl in the room. And I'm like, wow, like I just felt like I was constantly met with obstacles and
Yeah.
hard things to overcome. And even my journey through uni was just crazy. I broke down on the A2 so many times that they knew me by name when I called up. Like lots of little
Yeah.
things are hard. But what I know for sure now is from doing the healing work is that I was perpetuating a lot of that behavior because I believed my life was hard. And so more hardships came, as that's the law of the universe, right? What we believe
Yeah.
about ourselves is projected outwardly. So I kind of came to a real snap in the middle when the pandemic hit, because I couldn't keep pushing forwards, right? I was in constant burnout because I was doing 3 or 4 jobs since the age of 18. I'd done 3 or 4 jobs all the way through because I liked being busy. I felt even more that toxic masculine sense that I could provide for people. So I felt like, oh, I can pay for the lunches, I can take us out for coffee. Like I was doing that again, toxic behavior.
Yeah.
And then when the pandemic hit, my dream to move to LA then obviously didn't come true. And I had to think about what is it that I really want to do. And I thought about, what am I good at? And I've always taught throughout the whole time I was, pursuing my professional career. And I had some really great jobs, but they all felt empty. And I was like, okay, something was giving anyway, right? At that point, something wasn't feeling quite fulfilling. So then when I had to sit on that and ask myself what am I good at, I came back to connecting with people. And all of the students I've ever had have always said how I make them feel safe and seen and how I inspire them. And that was like really great confirmation that this is the type of field I needed to be in. And then as well as that, I embarked on my healing journey because well, I basically was having a walk with my aunt one day, and I'd had a conversation with a guy that I was dating that was really vulnerable, and it made me like, ugh. I was like, ugh, what's wrong with him? Like, why is he talking to me like that? And my aunt just said to me, she's like, you've never been vulnerable in your life. She's like, that's why that feels uncomfortable. And I was like, oh, okay. So I started to look down vulnerability lane, not realizing vulnerability lane leads to childhood trauma lane, and
Yeah.
they're a big intersect in the middle. And I was like, wow, I've got to go down this road now. It's a downward spiral. So yeah, that was hard, but so necessary, because I had to just unlearn everything that I was. And as well as this, it was my Saturn return. So everyone has a Saturn return between the ages of 27 to 32. So Saturn's all about correcting our pathway. It rules time, it rules structure, things like that. So it's all about correcting our pathway. So I do feel like everything I went through in my childhood and my teen years and everything led me to being this version of myself I am now, even my healing space. Then now I have the tools and the practices to help lead others out of their darkness and into the light. So it really has been such an intrinsic process. Like I said, I wish I could have just said, yeah, I just fancied doing it one day. It was like not that. This pathway found me, and I'm so grateful that it did, because this is the most fulfilling work I could ever dream of. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really
You
grateful to
can
be.
feel that in your energy as well. Like, and I think for anybody that's listening that is or has gone through some kind of trauma in their life, to see that there is a way of turning it around, and to be like, literally, I just see so much light around you, because you literally light up the room. Like, I've met you in person a few times now, and it's like, when Sherisse has arrived. Like, it's just this
Oh,
energy shift, and I just think that's so incredible, considering like the trauma obviously that you did go through. So
thank
how
you.
would you define what inner power is?
Yes. So I think that it is this, I say it like it's a light inside of us, right? And I think going on your analogy of what you just said to me, which is really lovely, and so spot on to what kind of the work that I do, because my podcast is called Permission to Shine, for anyone that doesn't know. So light is a big part of my work. But I believe that our inner power is our little spark inside of us. And it's like sometimes it's a little dull flame. And I think for me, in those years of trauma, it was a little dull flame that was just staying there like a little candle flicker. And then as we start to unlearn the limiting beliefs, the sabotaging thoughts, when we start to unpack the trauma and where it came from and other people's opinions of what they thought we should be, when we stop doing the jobs that we were told to do and, you know, follow the pathway of corporate when that's not what served us, when we start to take all of that away, that little light starts to get brighter and brighter and brighter because we're feeding it with passion, with self-acceptance, with self-worth, with self-love. And that light just gets brighter and brighter and brighter. And that for me is what your inner power is. It's the essence of you. No one else has it. You know, another saying that I say all the time is, you are the only you there is. That is your superpower. It's your individuality that is your power, and it's inside of all of us. Every single one of us has our own version of that. We just have to give ourselves the permission to let it out and to shine. So yeah, that's really what it is.
This is exactly what I'm always saying to everybody. Like, building that personal brand, it is about like just being you and realizing that you are the biggest USP of your business. And
100%.
yeah, just bringing that out is just incredible. So, what advice would you give to a woman that is struggling to connect with their inner strength and that confidence? Because one of the things that I come across so many times, especially as female entrepreneurs, if you don't have that support network, perhaps like there's not that many people, although there's loads of entrepreneurs and there's loads of online communities, there's not many in-person spaces where you can actually have that network of people to support you. So it can feel like quite a lonely place. And I think if you're someone that comes from that lack of confidence, or if you've had some kind of trauma in your life before, it's really hard to break through those barriers and those limiting beliefs. So what advice would you give to someone that is going through that kind of transition and just struggling to connect with that inner strength?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a common thing. And that's actually why my clients come to me for this very reason. So I have the answer. And I think really, more than anything, we're so scared to show that side of us. But when we allow ourselves to vocalize how we're truly feeling, like if we are feeling low, if we're feeling sad, or we're feeling scared, being open and honest about that will attract the people that also feel the same. If you're a brand and you use social media as a platform, write a status up or a story that says, gosh, having one of those days today where I feel like an imposter, anyone else? And you will see a sea of people that feel exactly the same way as you. And that first eliminates that feeling of isolation. That takes that out of the way. The second part is you ask yourself, why are you feeling this way? And this is where doing the work happens. So, you know, you can buy my journal if you would like, and also other journals that will help you find that yourself, and or you invest in mentors and coaches that will support you to get to the root of it. Now, you can absolutely do this work on your own. I'm not saying you need a mentor or coach, but in every situation when you work with a mentor and coach, they get you there quicker. And that's for me is really the essence of why you would invest in someone to help you get there quicker and to see the through road, because that's really my work is I can join the dots very quickly. I can see where the root and the origin is of this, but you can absolutely start to unpack that and do that yourself, you know, asking yourself questions. And this is the key, right? To building confidence, self-awareness is absolutely fundamental. So if you don't know what your triggers are, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what makes you angry, ask yourself those questions. And that's all you need to be writing down to begin with. And then you'll start to build it up. You know, if you realize that you are feeling sad, write down what you are doing when you start to feel sad. And then you'll start to join the dots to see, I feel sad and lonely when other parts of my life aren't going well, because that's what our brain does. It just reassociates. So for example, if you've had an argument with your partner and then you sit down to do some work, your brain's still thinking about the argument with your partner, not your work. And you're thinking that it's something to do with work when it's not. And this is why we become self-aware, so we can find and join these dots. But first and foremost, say how you feel, because you take its power away. When you own that space of being like, okay, I'm having a bit of a sad moment right now. Anyone else? You know, it just creates that open doorway, because I
It's
think
that
we all,
relatability, isn't it? It's actually
yeah,
like people can then connect with you on a deeper level because they can
absolutely.
feel like they're not alone in their situation.
100%. And like I said, we're all feeling it, right? We're not all feeling happy 100% of the time. So
Oh
if
my
you're
God, yeah.
believing social media and you're thinking, oh gosh, that's the fifth holiday they've had this year, they're doing really well, not realizing that that person's nan died and they've got an inheritance. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like we just see what we want to see. But I think when you can be open and vulnerable, you then attract that into yourself. Like I've had to do a lot of shedding of people and things like that were in my life before that only liked the broken version of me. So I know now that the people that are supporting me because they care about me and not because I'm useful to them, that's all still part of this. Like, are you surrounding yourself with the right types of people too? Because that's probably making you feel isolated. People that say things like, how's your little business going?
Oh my gosh.
Cut
Yeah.
them out, get rid of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, you want people that are like, oh my gosh, tell me about the business. What's going on? I saw your post the other day, loved it. They're the people that you want. You do
Yeah.
want supporters. And yes, we need a balance of people that have, adverse opinions, but not in your inner circle. Absolutely not.
Yeah. 100%. And I think what you were saying as well about investing in a mentor and a coach, it's so true. Like a lot of people see that as a luxury. And I guess for some it might be a luxury, but I honestly do think like I know when I've invested in things like courses, like I've had all the knowledge inside. I've already done that practice, but it's actually then working alongside someone that has
Mm,
helped you with the accountability and keeping you on track and just
absolutely.
realigning you because we all go off track. We all have off days, and no course in the world that's a self-paced one is going to give you that accountability to get the work done and stay on track.
100%. And call you out on your BS.
Yes,
We all need that,
we all
especially if you're
need.
having a sabotaging day where you're like, oh, I just might pack in the business. It's not doing well. I posted my post. I got 3 likes on it. What am I going to do? Am I made for this? You need your mentor or someone close to you to be like, snap out of it. Do you know what I mean? And also on that, the amount of likes you get does not determine your worth.
Yes, yes, this. And yeah, number of followers as well. Like, oh my God. We could just get so wrapped up in all of this thing. Like, oh, I've gained like X number of followers today, and I had this posted really well, and this reel went viral. And it doesn't actually mean anything if it's not then turning into engaged like clients and
Yeah.
yeah, making you feel good.
And I think that's also a question that I would ask anyone that is, wanting to become a powerhouse. Like the first and foremost is what do you stand for? What are you here for? Because if it is just for external validation, you're doing it wrong. There should be something that you're
Yeah,
passionate about that why you're here. And
yeah,
it could be that you just really love doing what you do, and that's why you're here. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate that you want a world peace or anything like that, but if you know why you're there, you'll stop looking for it in other spaces. You'll stop looking
exactly. It's
outside of
finding your
yourself.
purpose, isn't it? It's finding what you are really aligned to. And sometimes that might mean you pivot multiple times, but that's all part of like having your own business. It is like seeing what
Yeah.
works, what doesn't work, and what feels good for you.
And also on that as well, I would say that there's this thing about niching down, but I just believe that we are multifaceted humans. So there is a space where you get to be everything. Like I'm obviously a mentor and a coach, but also still a professional dancer and dance teacher because that's something I've always been. I'm not going out of my way to find dance work, but that's something that is been my identity for a long time, and I love that part of me. So I'm not going to eradicate that or change that because actually that's another part of what builds connection and what I love to do. So we get to be it all.
Exactly. I love that. And I know obviously you use dance for your own sort of empowerment, and that's like another passion that you've got. So what would you do for those people that have off, like we all have off days, don't we? So what would you encourage people to go and do, or like starting a new hobby or whatever it is, the kind of practices they can do to help them with that empowerment and the self-discovery if they're having an off day?
Yeah, for sure. The first thing you need to do is move from where you are because spaces hold vibration. So if you've been sitting at your desk and you're starting to feel like a bit of a slump, literally get up out of your chair, shake your body out, just literally like shrug it off, shake it all out, and then go to a different space in the house if you want to continue to work. Take your laptop with you, move somewhere, go to the coffee shop, get your favorite coffee, sit down, change the environment. Another thing you can do is literally just move again from where you are, put your favorite song on, just start dancing around because that will just start to just raise your vibration. You can even just decide to leave doing work for a little while, put your headphones in, go for a walk, or don't even use your headphones and just walk outside for a little bit. And on that as well, nature, the trees are interconnect. So this is super woo-woo, but if
Love a
you
bit of wee
have,
wee.
yes, that's it. If you have like a question that you need answered or your mind's feeling overwhelmed, if you walk in between the branches of the trees that are over your head, when you come out the other side, your mind will clear because of the interconnection of the branches of the trees will take it away. And also, if you have a question, if you ask the question before you walk under the pathway of the trees, on the other end, you'll find the answer. It's just like a little weird
That's
woo-woo thing.
amazing. I am going to try that. It's so funny actually. So I'm one of those people that just needs to be in nature. Like I have to get outside and get the fresh air. Like I my favorite place to be is in the woods, like walking the dog. And one of the
Mm,
cards I pulled my tarot cards the other day and I can't remember what it was, but it was basically like you need to get into nature, like no, go and do that
yeah.
thing, like go and touch a tree or something. I was like, oh my God, yeah, that is just so perfect for me.
Absolutely that. And this is the thing, Mark. I think with life in general, that we are more than just a body. We're like we're a soul, right?
Yeah.
We're a soul inside of our body. So the more you can connect to that side of yourself, the more rich your life will be. You know, if you're not into meditation yet, I recommend just trying a little bit. You know, like there's lots of guided meditations you can listen to, walking meditations, even just sitting down 2-minute meditations, whatever it is, find something that works for you to connect with your soul. Because when you do that, you begin to realize there is so much more than just you. And I think when you realize you're a little tiny dot in this infinite universe, but equally you are the universe, you start to see that everything has always been conspiring in your favor. You've just been standing in your own way.
Yeah.
And that's all it is.
I love that. And I think it's also like giving things a chance to work. So I know when I first started journaling a couple of years ago, the first week just felt weird. Like the very first day, I was like, what the hell do you write about? Whereas now it's part of my daily practice and it's something that I do as part of my daily routine. I love it. Like I couldn't imagine not doing it now. And I'm
Mm,
always encouraging my clients, like, just get into journaling because getting it out of your head onto paper or like just going for a walk, like just doing something that is going to take all of those thoughts in your head from whirring around and get them out. But yeah,
absolutely.
you have to
Uh,
give things a chance.
Yeah, and on that as well, like I believe personally that we need a mental release and a physical release. So the mental release could be the journaling, it could be speaking to, therapist, counselor, mentor, friend, getting it out. Also voice noting yourself. That's also a really great way to get it out of your body, which I
Yes.
use. And then the physical release could be somatic exercise, could be yoga, could be just going for a run, walking, and depending on how deep and painful the feeling is should be the level of activity you do. If you have heightened senses of anxiety, go for a run. Go for a run and run it out of your body. And then at the end of it, you'll be like, oh, like that's released out, high intensity training for things like that. But generally, you don't need to be, overly exerting your
Yeah.
body. What you need to be doing is just allowing the feeling inside. So if it's the knot in the stomach or the pain in the chest, you're allowing it to subside. Swimming, another great one, because bodies of water are just energetic healing spaces, especially if you're on holiday. Get in the sea,
Yeah.
that sea will take away your pain, I promise you.
I love that. And I think on the subject of talking about like releasing this inner power, like really stepping out as this powerhouse, I think it's quite a new thing, isn't it? Well, obviously empowerment has always been around, but I feel like it's just become more like in the world, in the society today. And it's so interesting because I remember even being at school, there would be comments of like girls that were very confident or women that were very confident, models, like actresses or whatever. And it was just being seen as like, oh, she loves herself and as being a negative
Mm,
thing. Whereas now I think there's so many more people that are actually encouraging this empowerment and confidence and just like owning who you are and not having to fit into any specific mold. I just think that is so empowering.
yeah,
And
for
I guess
sure.
that's a lot of the work that you probably do with,
Yeah, absolutely. It is that identity piece as well.
yeah,
It's like, I feel like, because we've lived in a patriarchal society for so long, that's been what steered the way people think about things. And
yeah,
unfortunately, we were groomed as women to see each other as competitors for men.
yes,
We are now in this evolutionary shift where we're coming into the rise of the feminine and the matriarchal energy is starting to rise up. So we are now not seeing each other as competitors, but as sisters. And that makes the patriarchy feel scared, because it's like, wow, actually, they're stronger together. And that's exactly the movement that we're trying to create. It's like, no, you're individual, you're great at this, I'm great at this, let's collaborate. And that's how we're trying
Yeah.
to change the game, especially us entrepreneurs. Like, we are in that space where we're like, no, no, we're going to be the change we want to see in the world, and everything else is going to follow suit as a result of that.
Yeah, and I love this. I love this whole like community over competition and collaboration. Like it's just so empowering, isn't it? Where you have so many of these spaces now where women are really supporting each other. So, what legacy would you love to leave through your brand and the women that you empower?
You know what? This is such a everlasting question, and something that I've always known my whole life. And it's weird to say it, but I always knew I was meant for more. Even when I was going through really hard moments in my life, I always knew I was meant for more. And I think it's just that I just want you to know how powerful you are. And I always say that, like if every single one of us let our light shine out into the universe and beyond, like you don't even realize how many people are inspired by you. And
Yeah,
that is just something I would love for everyone to take away, is that you just being who you are right now is making such an impact and a difference that you can't even see yet. There's people watching your content, going onto your website, talking to their friends about, oh, did you see what they did? That's really cool. I'm going to invest into that at some point. You don't realize how much of an impact you're already making. So step into that fully, because you are holding you back. And for me personally, I just feel like if I can be remembered as someone that just went for it and led by example, and did make that meaningful change in the world through just being who I am, then I've won at life. I've won. Take
I
me now.
love that. You have won the lottery, the jackpot.
That's exactly it.
So if anybody would love to work with you on any kind of like self-development, inner work, that kind of thing, how can they work with you? How can they find you online? Let us know.
Yes, cool. So I'm on all of the socials, so TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and it's Sherisse_Bisram, and then I've got Sherisse Bisram Mentor on Instagram as well. And I have a few different offers at the moment. So a lot of the work I'm doing at the minute is the one-to-one calls, just because I feel like that's what everyone is calling for. I am planning on launching something a bit more group, more orientated later in the year, but for right now, I really feel like the universe is calling for individual healing journeys. So that's really what I'm focusing in on too. So I'm offering different variations of call packages for people that need however length of time. But my mentorship journey begins at 6 months to 12 months. But again, as I said, I've got smaller call packages in between that. I also have a journal available on my website and on Etsy, and I've got worksheets as well if you just want like a little dose. That's on Amazon and also my website. And I have my own podcast, Permission to Shine, and
Which is amazing.
yes, and you're on as well.
Yeah.
They can listen to your episode. Yeah, just hit me up, my website, SherisseBisram.com. Find me on socials, drop me a message. I'm always open for a conversation, and yeah, to just have a chat really. I think for me, community is such an important thing.
Yeah.
And even if you're just a woman that's listening to this thinking, yeah, I really resonate with that, I'd love to speak to you and just hear your journey too, because again, when we speak it out, it doesn't hold as much weight.
100%. I love that. Thank you so much, Sherisse, for coming on today. I hope you've all really enjoyed it. Do leave a comment. Check out all of the links below so that you can find Sherisse and speak to her about working with her. But yeah, thank you again, Sherisse, and I can't
Thank
wait to
you.
speak to you all soon. Bye.